We're going to go ahead and get started. We actually have quite a bit of information here to go over. So, Maggie, these volume's not high enough, right? Thought we checked this earlier, but anyway, just a couple of quick things. Typically, again, we're recording this, and so at least I will be, and Ray and Rick are going to be on the video that we'll post on the website after we edit it. The other thing, just Maggie asked me to say, is that if you hadn't made dinner reservations, you might be out of luck. We're pretty full in the main dining room. I'm not quite sure how the Sunset Grill is, but anyway, if that was your plans, just so you know. We're going to go ahead and start off and cover the financials real quickly. Oh, boy, you can get a little ding. Okay, Ray. Technology. All right. There we go. Well, anyway, next slide, Ray, if we could. So, just kind of continuing the theme, we've struggled a bit with revenue this year. And so we've been chasing it really since January. January, February, March, really even to April weren't all that great. But we started to make some recoveries. And really the good news was June was a real good month for us from a revenue standpoint. And it looks like July is going to be even better. So we're starting to turn the corner a bit on revenue. A lot of that is due to outside events that we've had and some other things that were not originally in the plan back in January. I really want to thank the staff. They have done just an amazing job of controlling their budgets. And so each staff, each department in the club is underrunning their budgets, which is really helpful to us while we continue to work on the revenue numbers. Down on the bottom line, the smaller numbers, just to keep everybody up to date. In our operating accounts, we have $576,000. Of course, that's a day in, day out number. Annual capital, $925,000, and our long range debit has $770,000 in it. So we're not in any trouble financially. We have plenty of cash. We've been moving some things around, but we're hoping to finish the year strong. Next slide, Ray. Just update on membership. And this is a good news thing. So far through July, we've actually gained more members this year than we gained all of last year and actually the year before. And so the trend is really looking good. On top of that, we've had some additional monies going in from initiation fees. So we think we've got some momentum going on membership, and Carly's doing a great job. And we actually, in June and July, 12 or 13 members raised, somewhere in that neighborhood, 12 or 13 new members. And the good news is a lot of them are full golf, which is really good for us. We're also having conversations with Chick-fil-A about a corporate membership. That's still in progress. Don't know how long that'll take to finalize or if it'll be finalized, but anyway, it's another opportunity for us around membership. This is just me and housekeeping items, but I always want to kind of bring this stuff up. One of the things that we did differently, I don't know if you caught that in the minutes from the board of directors, but we changed a rule. Prior to this, it was stated essentially that the president was in charge of daily operations, which essentially meant personnel decisions as well. And so after some input and some thought about that, we changed that rule so that it's the club officers, and it's the president, the vice president, and the secretary. So at the moment, that would be myself, Ray, and Rick. If personnel decisions needed to be made with the general manager or one of the other key staff personnel, that group of three would make the decision rather than just the president. So that was a change. Just a couple other quick things we want everybody to keep in mind, please. When the course is closed for the day, please stay off of it. Part of the reason we want to do that because the grounds crew puts on a lot of other things that they are applying. They don't want people walking through it. I mean, you can see, I don't know, you might have seen this a few weeks ago, but there were some brown footsteps off the side of the practice putting green, and someone had walked through an application and carried it through there. And so things like that happen. So please, if the course is closed, please stay off. Want to bring to everybody's attention again our lightning protection sirens. If you read in the green book, it says that if you hear the horn to get off the course due to lightning, it's mandatory that you leave the course. And
Can't hear it on the blue.
all right, Bob. Yeah, well, we're going to check your hearing aids, but yes, I get that. But anyway, the reason I only pointed out is this about a month ago, Sunday afternoon, Barbara and I and the Schneiders were playing. The horn went off. There were some people in front of us as we were heading back to the clubhouse. We said to them, gosh, didn't you guys hear the horn? And they said they did, but they kept playing. Well, that same day, 2 people at Venetian Bay got hit on the golf course, and a person at the beach died when they got hit by lightning. So I'm just asking, listen, is it that important that you finish 2 or 3 more holes of golf? So please, when you hear the siren, leave the golf course, okay? And again, continue the cart traffic and dress code. Please observe those rules. They're there to help the course stay in the best condition we can get it. And we're trying to have at least some standards with the way we comport ourselves at the club. Outside events, we had a fair number of outside events over the last 6 weeks or so. And there were some inconvenience for those of us that wanted to play golf. So it was the bourbon tasters. We also had the FSGA here for 2 different events. And one thing I'll say about that, if we were not really struggling for revenue, we would not have allowed those events to happen. But we felt like it was important to bring them here. Actually, those 3 events brought in over $40,000 to us at a minimum, and actually probably more than that. Additionally, the bourbon tasters have booked this room for 2 more events this year, and I don't know, Maggie's here. So we're getting a little additional business out of it. Again, if we were in a healthier position, we probably wouldn't have done that, but thanks to everybody for their patience. But I also want to mention while I'm at it about green speeds. That issue keeps coming up, that there are some people who believe the greens have been too slow, and indeed they have been slow. There are some reasons for it. What we work with the superintendent on is we want the greens to be as fast as possible, but still be healthy. Now, what's happened is we've had a number of these Monday events. Monday is the day the crew likes to verticut, top dress, those kinds of things, and they haven't been able to do that for a while. So it results in more grain in the greens, and the green speeds slow down. We also, because it's been so hot and dry, have been watering the greens more than normal. Matt told me in normal circumstances, believe it or not, it only takes 3 minutes to water a green, normal circumstances. But because it's been so hot, in order to keep the greens from drying out, he's been watering them up to 6 minutes each, depending on circumstances. So anyway, he is working on it. He promises they will be faster. The target here, the architect had told us the greens were designed to run around 11. And so that's our target. Faster than 11, then you risk green health. The greens will turn yellow. They'll be real fast, but they won't really be very healthy. So anyway, that's what's going on there, but they are going to pick up speed. All right, let's see. All right, nominating committee. The first thing I want to say is thank you to Bob Benson for chairing this committee all these years, and I believe we all owe him a round of applause for doing that. It really is a thankless task. And correct me if I'm wrong, Bob, but last year, Bob approached over 15 people to run for the board just so we could get 2 or 3. And so it's been a challenging task over the years. This year, though, Bob has stepped aside, and Bob Schneider was nominated by me, the president, to be the chair. And then the board nominated the rest of the people who are on this committee. So it's Tyler Chesney, Rita Denson, Julie Patton, and Bob White. And you can see on the side, on the right-hand side there, basically that process is what's in the Green Book. The only little difference is, besides getting the bios, the committee is actually planning on vetting any of the potential candidates. So without getting into too much detail here, I would simply say if you're interested in running for the board, please see Bob Schneider, right? Send him a note, call him, whatever. But they are going to be very active here. And even though it's just July, it's not too soon to start working on this. Okay. And I think Ray's up to you now. Okay. There you go.
Like,
Yep.
Hey, Ray, can I say one thing?
yeah, yes. Where's that question come from? Okay, Chip, yep.
Back to the license. My understanding of the license law is that once it rains, you don't, oh, you're not complete, you don't put cold, you don't put out, you don't put out.
Right.
You're out the course immediately.
Right. Thanks. Absolutely. So the goal, once the horn goes up, stop what you're doing, leave the course. Okay? Give yourself the putt. With that. Yeah, but thanks, Jim, for pointing that out. With that. Okay, so we're going to talk now about the search for our new GM here. So we have, as Mike just spoke to, the three executive officers as part of the committee. Real thankful to add both Lorene Nixon, Lee Terrell to the team. What this does is this is the first impression the candidates are going to see of us, right? And if people want to know history, with the addition of Lee, we have at least 10 years of people that were active on the board. So if you talk about history, timeline, what the mindset was, what the culture was, we have that covered with this group of people. I had a chance to work with Lorene on the hiring process for Matt Carmichi, so I know her excellent business and interviewing skills as well. So I'm thrilled to have them aboard. And then we'll have three supporting help from the firm, which if you guys read my email, Sam is the lead, Tom the partner, and Holly support. Timeline follows real close to what we just described for the nominating committee. I actually signed the paperwork agreement on July 4th. I spent 3 hours the afternoon of July 4th supplying them information because they were all set to come out here the next week with all that. The posting went live on July 22nd, so we are in active search mode right now. Or the recruiting for that will be open for 1 month. And then what they'll do, much like I'll go into NCAA basketball mode, we'll have the Elite Eight to the Final Four to the finals. Okay? And that will happen during the month of September. All goes well, we'll have an offer out end of September, October. Most likely the people they are going after have a 45 to 60 day separation agreement from their existing club. So that would put the timeline between mid-November and end of the year. Okay, so hopefully in place by the annual meeting. Hopefully things go faster, but that's the outline there. And then on the right side, our work does not end there. And what I like what this firm does is they've already provided us pre-search consulting insight. Now they're going through the search. We will also have post onboarding consulting help, all within the same amount. So goals for the first year one, you have best practices for onboarding. You'll see in the next slide, and a lot of the work I've done in my 7 months now in this role is trying to learn about the club industry and best practices. I think McMahon folks said of the 400 clubs they've gone to, we were only the third that does not have a GM or for an extended length of time. Okay, so if you start to benchmark us against what best practices in the industry are, there's a little bit of a gap. Okay, so with the new GM, these tools and open mindset, we'll go and we'll upgrade things here. The next slide. So what are we looking for? So they had a survey sent to me. We surveyed the board directors. We surveyed the direct reports, so the staff. And I sent the survey out to about 30 at-large members. Okay. The feedback was very consistent around these themes. Okay, you can see the top is leadership and direction to both the staff, the board, and the committees, which ties back to my last point. Then you get into what I would call the interpersonal skills, the email interaction, the verbal, the presentation being available, and then these were the top technical skills. I'd say there that the group, and this was across all three groups. So although you had three different segments, lots of the same thing. Sam, our contact, came out here on July 16th. We did a site tour. He met with the staff for 1 hour. He met with the search committee and board members for about an hour and a half. Hospitality, hospitality, hospitality. Hospitality, hospitality, hospitality. So much of your feedback. I've gone through over 125 pages of feedback between the McMahon Group and these surveys. That is a theme that comes out across the board. We need to upgrade what we do there. There's a club association called CMAA, Club Managers Association of America. Okay, it's basically the private club industry. They offer certification programs. CCM is a country club manager designation. Okay, that means not only have they had practical experience, they've had education, they've had training, and they had to pass 11 tests. This is a well-rounded certification program. Okay, so just go with those things. This next comes from the first paragraph of the job description. And what the feedback and what Sam picked up on is the leadership styles. There's like 6 out there. You can look up in Google. But this servant leadership philosophy is what was felt the club needs at this time. I list some of the characteristics there. As I look at that, I look at my business life and how I have approached this board role. That's probably fits me if you wanted a live example, at least as a starting point. The key is to adapt to whatever situations you are. But emphasis is on you. The guys at my golf game, my former golf game, know I took this approach when I took over, right? And all that there. Also within the job description, experience being part of a workplace of choice. We've heard an awful lot about service levels throughout the club. Okay, I just thought that was a real nice fit and something we will look for. We said we will consider well-mentored assistant general managers. Okay, when I asked how does an assistant general manager club match to a lead at our club, the assistant GM is the one that does the day-to-day operations and work of their school will, so they know the whole spectrum of the role, not just one focus. And a lot of the comments, some of the comments we got back was to catch people on the rise of their career. Okay, so this is something we said we're open to looking at. And then a thing that came out is explain. So each of the ones that apply need to send me a note as to why New Smyrna Beach would be a fit for them and why Sugar Mill would be a fit for them. Okay, so there's aspects we could dive into there. Okay, There is a video announcement out there. I didn't want to risk it here for technical reasons. But if you go to this website, KKNW current openings, you might see something like this, I hope. Okay, you just click on that. It's a YouTube. It's a minute, 15 seconds. If you click on learn more, you'll get the full job description. It's 4 pages, okay? This is Tom Wallace. That's the W and KK. He was the general manager at Oakmont Country Club when they had the 3 U.S. Opens or events there. And then he joined his firm about 2015. Okay, so there's a lot of work and support they provided us. Rick's going to go through the survey results. They have the survey results. They have the feedback of what we're looking for at GM. So they had, and they were here on site. So we often say our culture is different. Okay, they have an understanding of what our culture is, and that should help us get a much better fit as opposed to throwing a resume on Indeed. Not that's what happened before, but there's some thought and processes there. Okay. Also, you'll see. I don't want to steal Rick's thunder. Both McMahon and when Tom was here or Sam, they describe us as a full service country club. Okay, you'll see what the questions are later. But to the outside world, with the footprint we have, with the tennis and all that, okay, to the outside we are, and we're called a country club. So outside folks, which would also mean prospective new members, are looking at us as being a full service country club. I would say we're not staffed to be that right now, fully, but that's how we're viewed, and that's what we're going to aspire to.
As opposed to a golf club, right?
Yeah.
Full
So
service, not a golf club.
yeah. So what I ask, and I'll just real quick while I'm up here. So if we were just the golf club, the way McMahon would define it is we'd have the golf course and the first floor of this building. That would be a golf club. If we have the golf course and this building, that's a golf-centric golf club with social activities. When you add the element over here and what to expand to, that's what brings us into a full service, just from a definitional point of view. Okay, with that. So I'm about to turn things over to Rick, but just some words, since you guys know me as a numbers guy. You'll see the survey results. Based on what McMahon said, these survey results are statistically relevant. There was enough of a core theme around certain topics that what the results provide give us a clear indication of what you, the membership, feel where we are today and where we need to go. Okay. It also will represent, we did not get to these ratings overnight. They've occurred over a period of a couple years. For some members, it may have occurred going back before COVID, okay? So it's not like this just happened in the last 6 months. The flip side of that is they both said it's gonna take us a couple years to completely turn the ship around, okay? But they all say we're taking the right steps. Other clubs have been in this spot before and have been successful. Okay. So with that, as Rick gets up here, I just want to emphasize again, as Rick is going through the results, he is being a messenger for what the membership said. This is not what the board's saying. Okay, this is what you, the collective members that were part of that survey, have said, and we're just sharing those results with you. Okay? Thank you.
Okay, one thing that Ray didn't mention about KKW, and I'll tell you also about McMahon. Sorry. One thing that Ray didn't say about KKW, and I'll remind you all about McMahon, is that we've hired the top consulting firms in the country to help us with the GM search and also with consulting on where we're going here. So you can rest assured that the work product that we are getting from both firms is top notch. All of the slides that I'm going to show you, plus additional slides from McMahon, are going to be posted to the website. So you'll have an opportunity to digest not only what I've selected from these slides, but also the rest of the slides that McMahon has come up with. This was the Long Range Planning Committee's timeline, and we're pretty much on track with that. Right now, McMahon has the results of the focus groups and surveys. They are working on preparing a site and floor plan with suggested facility changes. That will be brought to us first go around in August, and then ultimately we'll be bringing it to you guys. Oh, that's the wrong way. Okay. So here's the demographics of the focus groups. They were held May 15th and 16th. We had 4 sessions. You can see the number of attendees. All the attendees were sent exit surveys that were prepared by McMahon, very detailed exit surveys. Any of you who answered those, you'll recall that. And the survey was split into 2 core sections: infrastructure, potential improvements, and then what we have here is sugar mill cultural dynamics, which also means just management of the club. So the overarching result of these focus groups and surveys, from my point of view, and I think if you take a look at them, you'll see that most of us want some changes here. Most of us want the same changes, and most of us are willing to pay for those changes and upgrades to the club, which I take as a very positive result. Here's a slide on overall club satisfaction. You'll see, as compared to other country clubs, the number of our survey respondents who are very satisfied is relatively very low. That points to a problem area. The number of dissatisfied and very dissatisfied for us in the blue column is relatively very high. So we need to make some changes to bring up those numbers and have people more satisfied with our club. This is the mission statement here, and you'll see that the majority of people, 78%, agree with the mission statement, but most people disagree that we're doing a good job with it. And this is the vision statement. And this goes to having basically a full service, desirable, well-respected, fiscally sound club. And you'll see there the results. 83% of us feel like that's relevant to what you all feel the vision statement should be, but a large percentage, the majority, 60%, feel like we're not doing it. Part of the issue with some of this dissatisfaction is the governance and management issues. You'll see these. Oh, I want to point. Oh, there we go. So you'll see here, we really are falling down. We have this, we should be, our mean rating should be 3 to 4 or higher, and you see the low mean rating numbers here on these categories. So the degree to which the board is representative of the membership, that was not well rated. Opportunity to serve on committees was fair. Effectiveness of the committees, fair or a little less than fair. Management effectiveness and responsiveness to member comments and suggestions are areas that we need to improve. Satisfaction with club activities and facilities. Again, this is a comparison with our club versus other clubs. Our club is in blue. And you will see that in terms of the white and red course, people are satisfied with those more than they are at other clubs. Pickleball, also satisfied. Fitness and wellness, we start to fall off. Blue course, we start to fall off, although I must say that when this survey was done, the blue course was not in as good a condition at that moment in time as it is now. So that may be slight change. Tennis, social events. Member dining is a place where we really fall off. The main clubhouse, we really fall off. And pool and swimming, we fall off with regard to satisfaction with our facilities. This is as you can see, the important satisfaction matrix. And as you look at this, anything below that curved red line is an area where we need to improve. As you travel to the right on that slide, the degree of importance goes up. So this includes the pool. So fitness and wellness falls below what most of you want. They have the pool and swimming separately listed here, but this is the activity center building, and I was told it included the pool, but it's there twice. But you'll see here the places that we are really falling down. We're low on this. We're low on this graph with regard to the main clubhouse, member dining, blue course, practice facilities. So these are the priority improvements. And these are the missed opportunities. Things that we're doing well are above the red line. Okay, we asked in the survey to indicate what you feel the primary purpose of the club today, I'm sorry, what the club is today, the purpose of the club is today, and what you feel it should be, what it should strive to become in the future. And as you can see, this is where most of you, a majority, a clear majority, want a full-service country club with a wide array of year-round social and recreational activities, and we're not doing that. Okay, so we got into the weeds, and there's some additional weeds that you'll see when you look at the other slides from McMahon posting it when they're posted to the website. But here you'll see the highest priority potential improvements that are rated important by at least half of all respondents. So some of these are things that, I think just talking among ourselves and our golf groups, we all talk about these things, and I think many of us would agree that these, at least anything above 50%, is something that we need to consider. And these are the things that McMahon is going to be working on with a proposal with regard to the site plan and floor plans to see how we can best utilize our facilities to more satisfactorily respond to what you as the membership want. Some of these there's a little bit of overlap in some of these. This shading at the pool is on its own, but the update the existing main floor dining room by removing stairs and converting to casual dining with a new central indoor-outdoor bar is kind of similar to this. Provide an indoor-outdoor socializing after golf area, provide indoor-outdoor dining with outdoor dining having high ceilings and fans and so forth, and then providing a snack bar beverages that serves the pool and rackets area. So you can see that some of these are similar and maybe some overlap, but you get a sense of what is really important to you guys as the members. For those of you who filled out the survey, you'll recall that one of the questions was, based on the information you provided, which of the following funding options would you prefer for funding improvements? Most of you wanted a monthly capital assessment, and the average amount that you guys said you were willing to pay was $156 additional a month. The median amount was $180 a month. So that $156 a month would raise about, according to McMahon, about $5.2 million. There was about a third of you wanted a combination of monthly capital payment and one-time assessment. Depending on what those numbers are, that would raise a similar amount of money. Sure. Yes. So, do you want me to go over these milestones? Okay. So this is the third quarter milestones that we're working on. McMahon comes back August 21st to meet with the long-range planning team. They're going to have an initial draft of their ideas for us to look at, and then in September they're going to tweak that and give us their first cost estimates. Obviously, very important. So what we expect is that we will have some of these improvements will be prioritized and phased in over time. So this isn't going to all happen at once, but we're going to have a plan to make sure that we respond to what you guys want. The general manager search, KKW, that Ray explained, it's now in full swing. I looked at the KKW website and I looked at their posting on Sugar Mill. It made me proud. You should really watch it because they really did a nice job with the description. It's a video of the Mr. Wallace from KKNW, and he just does a really nice job describing Sugar Mill and making it sound very, I think, inviting. And then if you look at the 4-page job description on the website, to say it was thorough is an understatement. So that's the timeline for the general manager search, and then Ray's gone through the board of directors nomination process, and the budgeting process will start in August, and there we go. Fourth.
How many iterations or plans will they give you? Like 5 and 10, like minimal and maximum?
Well, it's going to be in different parts, right? And some are going to be dependent on others. So they're going to look for feedback from us when they give us their initial thoughts. One example could be, when they were here, they talked about, well, the entryway to this building is odd. That you pull up here and you don't know which way to come in if you're a new person here or a visitor here. And, if you focus an entry over there, what does that do to this? If you focus it over here, so they're interdependent, a lot of these decisions. So they will give us their best take on what should be done, and we will prioritize the iterations, and that'll be based on what the members determined were priorities, in addition to what it costs to fix. Fourth quarter milestones. You guys can read that. I don't think I need to go through that. Unless are there any questions? That's it.
Thank you. Thank you, Rick. Let me have the. Yeah, thank you. Good job. Thank you, Carmen. Okay. Let's see if I can handle two things at once. All right. Well, there we go. Sorry. Yeah, I think it does. It just has to turn it on. Yes. All right. So, questions and answers. Yes, sir. Dennis.
Mike, you'd probably be the best one to answer this, but during that gap between the time we had a general manager and then you were kind of managing things, at one time there was a school of thought that if the department directors performed well enough, we might not even need a general manager. In any event, as you look at it now, what were the biggest deficiencies in club management because we did not have a general manager?
Well, that's kind of a loaded question, but I'll just say two things. What's become apparent to me in the last 7 months is we really do need a general manager, and a good one. Now, it's not any reference to Michael O'Brien. It has nothing to do with that. Where we are as a club, and I think if you saw this, particularly with the survey results, we really need a really strong hand. We do have really good staff, and it's been, my perspective anyway, a blessing working with them. Without really lots of direction and help, they're doing a pretty darn good job. But we have, and everybody in this room knows, we have areas where we've got to make some significant improvements. And again, the survey, Rick said it earlier, and it's right, it's amazing how all these different groups basically said the same thing. So we've got to improve our member experience, and that goes for the golf shop, it's in tennis, consistency of food and service there, on and on, right? Those things are still there. And the problem is with our current structure, I'm unwilling to be here 60 hours a week. Ray's here a lot, but even he can't be here around the clock. And we are not here to help, nor do we have the experience that they need. So they need somebody who can help them. So this is absolutely the right path. I'm firmly convinced we need a general manager. We just simply do. If we're going to grow as a club and invest in this club and be prepared for the growth of New Smyrna Beach, we need a really effective general manager, and we need to change a bunch of other things. We need some experience to help us with that. So this is kind of a long answer, but we need somebody that's got a view of what we need to do with membership. There's just tons and tons of things we've got to review to put ourselves in a position where we're actually improving the member experience. Because in my mind, what the survey really says is, yeah, you need to renovate your clubhouse, but that's something that always has to happen. I mean, right, in your own home, most of us change out our kitchen every 15 or 20 years or something, right? So the facilities are no different. The golf course, you have to restore the golf courses every 20 years or they die, right? Those things just have to happen. But where we're really, what I guess opened my eyes about this is we're really falling down on governance of the club and member satisfaction. And so that's the part we've really got to work on. And while myself and Ray and other people on the board have lots of experience and lots of things. We're not experienced at running a country club and certainly not prepared to drive this club forward. So I'm not sure I completely answered your question, but that's just my viewpoint.
No, that's good. Yeah, you
Okay.
had the experience.
Bob?
Just a quick thought. I think one of the most important reasons to have a general manager is continuity.
Mhm.
So we don't have to change out for,
Right.
if you were to continue in your role, but you're limited in how long you're going to be in that role.
Right.
And the general manager brings continuity. And
Right.
we hope that when you finally find one, he's gonna be with us for many, many years.
Yeah. Yeah, I agree with you, Bob. Matter of fact, when we met with Sam Lindsley from KKW, there was quite a conversation about, are you looking for somebody who's highly experienced and this is kind of at the end of their working life, or are you interested in somebody a little bit younger in their career with energy and whatever? And so there was a lot of conversation about that, but my only statement was, I want somebody who's going to be here to take us through this transition, because all these things, restoring blue, redoing in the clubhouse, and working on all the governance issues that we need to work on, is not going to get done in a year or two. It's going to be, my mind, and this is just me saying this, but 5 years or so to get all this done. Because when you think about construction inside of a clubhouse, and you know all the things that you have to go through, it's just, you're not going to snap your fingers in 3 months, it's done. So I'm with you. I really want someone who is going to be here for a while. Now, today's employment market is a different animal than when I was working. Just an example, our superintendent is being recruited all the time by other clubs. And so hopefully you have a positive workforce and you're paying them appropriately and they'll stay with you, right? But I agree with you. I'd like to see someone here. I don't know that someone would be willing to stay for 20 years, but certainly for the next 5, 6, or 7 to help us through this transition, we need a strong hand. More questions? Jeff, did you, Carly, see Jeff?
Survey question.
One where you had how much we'd be able to spend more a month. The question really didn't say how much would you increase it, what would you be comfortable paying?
Yeah.
So I think that is a little misleading. I wrote down 150. I didn't mean to say 150 more.
Okay.
I said I'm comfortable with 150.
Yeah, the one thing I'll say about that, Jeff, is it's very premature in my mind to be talking about what levels of assessments might be required to do this work, because we don't actually even have the capacity to borrow this much money at the moment, right? It has to be done over a period of time. We don't even know what the costs are going to be. We know a rough estimate for blue, and we've had McMahon give us some brief comments about it, but it's really based on how much we can borrow. And so I understand what you're saying, but it is premature in my mind to say how much all this is going to cost, but it will be incremental over what we're paying today. There's no doubt about it. I just don't know how much.
I gotta disagree that it's how much we can borrow. It's how much does that course really need?
No, I know, but we have, in working with the bank, Keith, we will have a physical limit on how much they'd be willing to give us. Because
Like 60%.
well, it's somewhere between 60 and 70% of the value of the club. Now, the value of the club keeps going up, but we can never be any higher than that. At the moment, we owe 5, Ray, 4,
I don't know, we're
somewhere between 4 and 5. The first tranche gets paid off next year, and that leaves us with what the cost of red and blue. But I agree with you, and there are no plans to take shortcuts restoring blue or restorations here either, none. But we do have to be practical or realistic with how much the bank will let us have. It also depends, where does membership go, right? If membership declines, it's hard to borrow money. So, hi, Roseanne. Yeah.
Switching topics for a minute, I read in the last board minutes that our July mid-year cap assessment was directed to our operational budget. Isn't that atypical?
Yes, that is. The Green Book gives us the option to do that, which we elected to do this year. we basically said in the first half of this year, we'd actually covered the main capital items that we felt were most important. The things that are left on that list are, we'd like to do them, but they're not as important at the moment, particularly given the fact that we may be doing some renovations to the clubhouse, et cetera. And really, the main thing we did, we said, so that's it. We're done on anything discretionary. We're only going to handle emergencies. Matter of fact, today, the air conditioner for the candlelight room has to be repaired, be replaced actually. So that's, that's what always happens, right? But yes, and the main reason we did that, Roseanne, is because in the last few years, we've had to actually dip into a credit line. And it's been happening earlier and earlier in the year. And I don't, memory serves me, it was 400 grand last year. And yeah, last 2 years it was around 400 grand that we took a credit line near the end of the year. And what we do then is once we start collecting dues at the first of the year, we pay that off first. So to a degree, we sort of steal money from next year's budget. So we said, you know what, we're going to take that money, apply it to operations if we need it, and hopefully reduce our need to rely on a credit line this year. Now, again, all this depends on revenue. Thank goodness June and July were pretty good. August is going to be a quieter month, as it typically is, right? And so we'll have to see how all that goes. But yes, what you said is exactly what we did and why we did it.
All right, is it, one more question?
Sure.
Is it conceivable, and I know it's premature right now to talk about numbers, additional assessments, whatnot, or method, but is it conceivable that pending a rather flat growth in membership, not as high as we would like, that we could possibly carve off some of the capital that we do get instead of levying an additional 150 or 180?
Yeah, I mean, this is just me, but what I've been looking for all along, what I've talked to Rick about from long range planning and Ray with finance is, at the end of the year, I just simply want a plan. And that plan is, this is what are the steps to renovate the clubhouse, do blue, when we're going to do them, how much they'll cost, what kind of, what we'll need. But anytime we'd have enough cash not to borrow, it makes sense to do it with cash, right? Rather than, and we've done that. When we got the ERTC funds, we utilized some of that money to pay for part of the cost for restoration of red rather than borrow it from the bank, right? It's actually that one step probably saved us $1 million over 15 years. It did. It saved us $1 million by doing that. So we use that cash rather than borrow money. So yeah, that's certainly our attitude. And I don't know how many of you know the people on the finance committee, but I am really impressed. That is a really, really good group. And we get great advice from them. And I'm really anxious for them to finally get McMahon's estimates along with the estimates for blue and give us what they think we can do and what that will cost. But I'm really optimistic about membership, but everybody needs to know this. Matter of fact, Rick told this story here some months ago, but they visited, I think, Roseanne, you were on this trip, Oceanside, and they went through some of this, and they lost members at the moment, people who didn't want to be part of paying more, right? But in the end, after they were finished, membership grew like crazy, right? And so that's the risk you take, right? That you'll come forward and say, we're about to spend a lot more money. Some people will say, I don't want to do it, and they'll leave. And then others will pony up, and then hopefully when we're done with all that, people will understand that we're a little more modernized, we're prepared for growth, we're meeting member needs more. Because I mean, really what the survey says is that, besides the governance piece of it, but from a physical standpoint, the clubhouse really isn't meeting the needs of the members today, right? But anyway, I'm sorry, but you're right, Roseanne, we would use cash instead of borrowing if we have it, certainly.
Fran had a question? Fran?
Yes, I did. Have there been any offers, outside offers to buy our club?
Yes. Matter of fact, the same. Fran's question was, have there been any offers from outside to buy our club? We have been approached by a company that does this very thing. They buy up clubs and put their own management team in them, and they have approached us. Now, they approached us a couple years ago. They made a ridiculous offer. We told them to go away. They came back. They have not given us another offer. But in the meantime, we did some research on them, and I, just to be kind about it, those clubs that they buy up are no longer very attractive clubs. And so, but no one else. Now, honestly, if things go south for the club at some point in time, that's an option. But I will tell you, the minute you're no longer member owned, a lot of things change, right? I mean, some of us are or have been members of other clubs that were run by Club Corps or Troon or these other places, and it's a different animal altogether. They are very profit oriented, and they do what they want to do. And it's not to say that you can't have a successful club, because some of them are, but I think that would be a huge shift here. So I hope we don't ever have to do that. But if somebody came and offered enough money, we would actually come back to the membership and said, look, somebody's offered us this ridiculous amount of money. Do you want to do it? But I don't think that's going to happen. I don't think golf courses in general, country clubs, are a very good investment, right, from an outside capital standpoint. Wow, this is a quiet crowd. This might be the fewest questions. Yes, sir.
Our last town hall, we talked about number 4, acquisition of the real estate. Do you have any update on that?
Well, actually, no update really. We have not heard at all from that person. There was an effort to clean that canal out, and actually, I've come to find out it's not actually a canal. That waterway along 4 is connected to the pond a little bit further up the road. That's where the waterway ends, which just seems a little strange. But anyway, so Jeff Coombs has been doing a great job getting all these waterways cleared out for the HOA, and he called and he said, you want to do something about that? I said, well, it's not ours, but while the guy's here, we might as well have him do some of the work to mitigate flooding. So our intent was to clean some of it out and send this guy a bill and see if they turn around and want to sell it to us. But we've not heard from them. They still own the property, and it's odd. They actually own land on both sides of that creek, or whatever you want to call it, and they own most of the fairway all the way down. But I just think it's the weirdest thing that somebody bought it. And I have had some conversations with the city around water and whatever, and they don't understand it either. You know, I'm just mad at myself. We missed the opportunity. And what I didn't understand about that process is if we had actually bid a little bit more money, we might have acquired it. And what I did not know, shame on me, there was a tax bill due of like $2,500. So the minimum bid was $2,500. That's what we bid. We said, no one was going to want this piece of property. Well, the person who bought it for $5,000. But guess what happened? After they bought it, the city gave them $2,500 back, because all they wanted was the $2,500 in first for the taxes. So if I'd known that, we could have bid $8,000 or $10,000 on somebody's credit card and got a refund, and we'd own the property. But anyway, we've not heard from them. If we do, we'll deal with it. But we have really free, great legal counsel here. And we've been told many times that if this person tries to interject themselves into the club business, we have lots of legal grounds to keep doing what we're doing. If it ever came to it, I'd just simply say to them, sell the darn stuff to us, would you, for what you paid for it? And, you know, but I have no, why would anybody want to own it? They're paying property taxes on it. I get it. But it's not very much, by the way. The property taxes are $28 a year, that piece of property. $28. Yeah. I mean, it's not going to go up in value, I don't think. Anyway, sorry. More questions? Go ahead. Yes, Jim.
I was going to follow up on something you said earlier. He's alluded to how much do we really need at the Blue Floor?
Right.
And, you know, I was playing over there earlier this week, and the condition of Blue Floor, I think,
Yeah.
great. And when we spend money for white and red, we need to do that.
Yeah.
But we also talked about having the golf course you can play the ball down on.
Right.
And if people don't want to play the ball down,
Yeah.
there's no reason to spend money to enable it.
Yeah, right now in the plan, Blue is, and there's nothing firm about this, but it's basically scheduled for 2028. So, and that's the earliest we could do it if we said go now. But I will say that, and I agree, it's in the best shape it's been in years. Some of that is the water system finally got fixed. There's been more aerating on and on, but the course is dying. If you look at the greens, there's lots of contamination in them. There's still some areas that no matter what we do are going to be bare, and the only way to fix that is new grass. We also really need to do a significant amount of tree trimming there, but that's a big deal. But I'm just of the opinion that it needs to be restored, and we could slide it another year or two or whatever if you want. But I personally, this is my personal view, it is the best piece of property we have, and I believe fully restored, it is just going to be magnificent. I believe. I mean, red and white are nice, but blue is going to be another step above, in my opinion. But I understand what you're talking about. I enjoy playing it, except the fact that I can't ever find the fairway. But I mean, it's in really good condition now, comparatively, right?
That's done a great job.
Yes, he has. Yes, Keith.
Is there any way to compress the schedule such that the vote on our final operational plan as a result of simulation, all the consultant input and so forth, can take place before January, prior to renewal of memberships and so forth?
Yeah,
It's going to play into my decision.
Oh, sure.
Whether I want to renew my membership.
No, I know, and I get that. All I can tell you is that McMahon told us that was probably the earliest we can be ready, and so because once we start to understand the cost, this will be no different from when we did red and white. Man, we got out in front. We got ambassadors. We were in selling mode for months ahead of time, because you need renderings and put them around the club. You need people going out there saying, I mean, there's a whole thing. So we won't really even have a lot of those estimates until late this year. And so, and the other part of it is, and again, don't hold me to this because I could be wrong. But even if you get a yes vote from the members in, say, January or February, whenever we do it, and then the process is you've got to hire an architect. You've got to get all of that. You've got to get permits. How's as soon as you could do anything here? Well, it's going to be.
You're committed at that point.
Well, yeah, that's exactly right. Well, and again, to be clear, what you're asking the membership to do is approve borrowing the money, right?
Borrowing the money and approving the assessment.
Right.
that goes with it.
Right. Well, and again, you have to convince the bank to let you have the money, right? And they do. But anyway, you know where I'm going with that. Yes, Dennis.
Like, where did white and red come in regard to the budget? I remember they had
Yeah,
a 15% contingency.
Yeah, we did hold it to the 15% both times, but it was disappointing that it took that. But again, I know there's lots and lots of reasons, but it was COVID and post-COVID stuff where cost of transportation went way up, sprinkler head costs went way up in the process of all this. And so we did get it, we did bring it in within budget, but within the contingency, right? So they were, each 9 was about $200,000 more than we planned on. But we did have the contingency. That was the good news.
Got a question in the back, Mike?
Yep. Yes, ma'am.
Two-part question.
Sure.
What is our current membership numbers? What do we need to be at to be in a healthy financial standing? And do we have a committee that's actively prospecting different new members? Because I know generally we don't want to have other people come in, but it sounds like the tournaments that we posted have been profitable, and that may be a great sneak preview for people to want to have a membership here.
Yeah. Well, right now, our total membership number is about 460.
Yeah, about 460 with 310 golf equivalent.
Right.
So a number that's been discussed for a while is having 350 full golf equivalent. So basically 50 more people at the full golf level.
To be in good standing, like healthy financial, essentially 50 additional members.
With a net 50, right? Okay,
Yeah,
and it
and
might be a little bit of a curve there, but we'll get to that. Yeah.
And actually, that number, honestly, is really derived about not necessarily financially what it would take. So one of the things about Sugar Mill is access to the golf course, right? And when you get past about 350 full golf people, then you start having trouble getting tee times. and yeah, we get saturated with golfers. So that 350 really is a number based on availability of golf time, because you get above that, then you're going to start having lotteries for tee times and other things that a lot of us would prefer not to have. So that's really the number right there. But anyway.
So what efforts are we making to actively get those numbers up? Do we have a committee or?
Oh, yes.
I didn't hear anything.
Yeah, yes, we do have a membership committee, but Carly's our membership. I don't know, where's Carly? There she is, Carly there. And Carly was working really hard. We invested heavily in this software, which really is giving us a lot of good leads. We are getting significantly more contacts about people interested in the club and in the area. So that has really gone up dramatically. Now, all this takes time. I mean, Carly will tell you that from the time of first contact till she actually lands somebody, it can be months, right? So I think we'll expect to see the rest of this year and even into next year this ramp up. At least that's the way I feel about it right now.
Carly, what's your biggest challenge in attracting new members?
Now, honestly, it's timing for a lot of people. A lot of people I talk to are moving to the area, either from South Florida or from some other state, and so that's all dependent on real estate, what fits best for them. So it's a number of factors that I have no control over, unfortunately.
What about our competition in the area?
I mean, there's really no direct competition because you have Oceanside, which is 30 minutes away, or Plantation Bay. We're similar in dues and whatnot, but their initiation fees are so much higher than we have. So there's really no direct comparisons with that. At least we have that niche of we're the only private club in this area, and so.
But I guess my question is, people that have declined to join, what's been their rationale for saying no rather than yes?
You don't really know because some people don't tell you the whole story. I would say it's financial for a lot of people, but they might not tell you that to your face. But that's the feeling that I get from people.
Yeah, just to
Yes, definitely. That's something that I will be focusing on, one of my efforts going into the later part of this year and next year. Hopefully with some changeover in the board, new committees, new establishments, there are some ideas about how to really integrate people into the community. Because if you don't know someone here, it is difficult to try and integrate and make friends and kind of find out where you belong. So I do have ideas, and I would like to help that as much as possible to make it a much more open and available club for everybody. But yes.
just to add one more element of that, part of this survey demographic, Rick listed the top improvement opportunities. McMahon did break that down by demographic, and one of the things they said to us, part of their consulting of us, is those that ranked higher in certain categories than the average. So for instance, women, people under 66, and new members are looking for an improved dining experience. So that gives us a clue of, with some of the investments we're wanting to make, that should be then a attractor as opposed to a detractor. And that's how you would use that type of information.
Yeah. Okay. Well, one more question. Sure.
Did the club put out a pamphlet or something for when you have all these outside players for the Bourbon Club? When these outside groups come by the hundreds, there's a pamphlet that they can pick up, or is there any sort of advertising that way?
We do have some of that, and we do some of that. We probably could do a better job of it, but Carly has done those things, run around, put flyers on their carts and things of that nature. But our experience is from these outside events, we don't really get a lot of people contact because they come from all over. I mean, these players for the FSGA, they were from everywhere, right? And so, those were great events for us, but most of the people don't live in the area. that play. Yeah, go ahead.
Down at the snack bar and a couple other locations around, there is, Carly did a little stand that has a QR code that says if you're interested in our membership, scan here.
Right.
Which makes it very easy for someone that's just on a, coming through, they're here with the kids or something like that. It's right above the ice machine down at the snack bar, and they can do the QR code, and then they can, there you go. And then they've got it, really. So. Also, one other thought is if you do social media and you're out here, she's doing all this work with Storyteller. If you do social media, Facebook or Instagram or any of the others that are out there, and you're out having dinner with your friends here, or you're on the course and you're having a good time, or you're having some birdie juice or whatever, when you're out and, tag Sugar Mill Country Club in it, because it does help attract, like, hey, this is what we're doing here. If you're here for bingo, you're here for one of the events, you're at the pool, water aerobics, tennis, pickleball, whatever you're here for, take a quick snap and just say, hey, had a great time of pickleball this morning with all my friends, and, you never know what it might direct her way as well, because people want to be where their friends are at, and they see that you're having a good time, and it's going to maybe help direct some more business her way.
Yeah.
So Mike, in regard to Ray's point about, it was what, women under 66 and new members went dining? And I remember the focus group I went to, there were several long-term members who very emphatically said, whatever you do, don't spend any time or money on dining. Because if the club were to suddenly acquire a Michelin star, the people who live off campus, where the folk, are not going to get in their car and drive to the club. And that's kind of what the tension is.
Oh yeah. Well, and McMahon said that to us too. They said you have to have good food, but it's an amenity. And you're absolutely right that a lot of our members who live off campus, so anyway.
There was enough feedback from the groups that people are refusing to bring guests here because of the appearance.
Right.
So there's that element that it gets weighed too.
Right.
And if you look at what Oceanside did, right, and Suntree, a lot of that was the amenities upgrade, especially if you're positioning as a full-service country club.
Right. All right. Well, we're going to bring it to an end here. Thanks, everybody. We'll see you in October.